What's good everyone, it's your boy yadiiiigg, 4 eyes, 2 G's here, and today we're here to talk about Playboi Carti and his baby voice. And this term has gained traction over the past couple of years thanks to the Cudi cult community adopting the slang to describe his evolving vocal style that has morphed into a very high-pitched voice as of recent times. And as you can see with the Google Trends data here, it's no joke that this term has become widely popular and really only has become a thing since 2018. But where did it all start and how did it become associated with Carti? Well, let's break it down.
Do this for my niggas, you do it for the clout. Boy, you ain't from the trap, you can't even break the pack down. Tryna get my mom out the hood into a new house. She always steady talking that she ready to go to down south. Talk shit, you can get hit right in your mouth. Cops catch your ass, traffic, boy, you better zigzag. Niggas catching bodies, leave your ass for a toe tag. It's okay, just be yourself, cause you don't gotta be on that.
And to understand how something evolved into what it is, you first need to understand what it was and its prior state. So let's add some context to Carti's voice and discuss its evolution. Throughout his SoundCloud come up, Carti's voice was basically night and day compared to what it is now. It was deep, at times aggressive, and it was a commanding presence on a track. His voice during these times was an allure of his music for me personally. However, undeniably, compared to the eccentrics of his voice now, it was quote unquote more standard in the sense that he wasn't doing anything insane or overly different with his voice compared to the rest of his peers. However, the first shift towards a baby voice would occur with his progression with self-titled. His voice on this project became noticeably higher. You definitely couldn't call it the baby voice, but if you're a seasoned Carti fan leading up to self-titled, you can definitely discern that it was higher and less deep. His voice became less of an in-your-face, dominating presence and more of a relaxing vibe, harmonizing with the production more peacefully. Just compare a track like Don't Tell Nobody to a track like Mean or Lookin', and the difference is fairly apparent.
I don't fuck with nobody. I be in the field ready to pop on anybody.
Driving like I'm drunk, but I'm out that lane. Bitch, I wanna fall. Oh, come lean on me.
But then we get to Dilate, and Dilate is where we would get the first iteration of the baby voice. And when I talk about the baby voice, it's difficult because everybody has their own songs that they think represents it the most, or this song, or that song, but I just can't talk about every song that uses a voice or else we're gonna be here for an hour. And it's not like Carti's baby voice is a chronological progression in terms of this song released in January, then there was this song released in February that changed, and then this in April, etc, etc. It was more of a gradual progression. So instead I'm going to focus on what I think are the most impactful and most important baby voice songs and discuss the context around them to show you guys how this term has evolved over time. But in the comments below, make sure to tell me what you guys think is the best baby voice Carti song we've gotten so far. I want to know what you guys think. I'll tell you guys mine later on in the video. Undoubtedly from Dilate, the most prominent example of the baby voice was Flatbed Freestyle. Out of the other examples that you could maybe call baby voice on this album, like Lean For Real or No Time, I think this was the most obvious example of it. And due to how different it was stylistically from anything else at that time, this song really kickstarted the whole idea of the baby voice even being a thing. However, as I said, this was just iteration 1, but fans were already creating memes and loved the quirkiness of the voice. But it wouldn't be long until the next important baby voice came to fruition, which was Cancun.
Walk around the business, walk around the business. Yeah, walk around the business. Fucking on your dot, we in Cancun. Hitting on it, and I know it does.
This snippet of Cancun showed us that Carti recognized the love and attention this baby voice style was getting and was planning to incorporate it into more music moving forward. And before we continue with the baby voice, a big shout out goes to #Jonah, my mans, an OG Carti fan. He already knows what time it is. Big shout out goes to him. Also guys, at yadiiiigg, you know the vibes. Make sure to follow me if you guys haven't. Appreciate all the love and support you guys show me over there. Also remember about my Carti and Travis merch tees, link in the description, and make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications, all that good YouTube stuff. But let's keep going about the baby voice. So super important about Cancun is the platform that this song would get through the memes and it going viral. I would say that Cancun signal boosted the term baby voice through its virality and helped to bolster the term and it being associated with Carti. However, although Cancun was definitely a progression of the baby voice, hearing what we've heard from Carti now, we can reflect on Cancun as a pretty tame version of this style. And across the journey of A Whole Lotta Red, with the abundance of snippets and songs we've heard, is really when the baby voice has taken full form and a life of its own, from being featured on a couple songs from Dilate to being the most prolific style we're hearing from Carti. And I think there are two main songs that symbolize Carti's ascension and evolution vocally, which are Kid Cudi and Molly. Again, it's not like these songs are the only baby voice songs, but to me, these are the most paramount and significant when you discuss the progression of this style, not only in terms of sonically, but in terms of its place within internet culture. Firstly, Kid Cudi. This, at the time before it leaked, was by far and away the most anticipated Carti snippet since Cancun. The eccentrics of his voice in this song showed he was pushing the boundaries of this style and was basically not given an F. If Flatbed Freestyle and Cancun were a light 3 or 4 on the baby voice scale, Kid Cudi is like an 8 or a 9. Crucially are two things with this song though. Firstly, with how big the song became when it leaked, having it rack up millions of plays from illegal uploads, being constantly uploaded on Spotify by desperate fans, and Carti even performing it, it really showed everyone what Carti was doing with this style. And with the reception and attention it got from the hip hop community as being so strange and just playing absurd vocally, it led to people wanting more of this style. And I think it signaled to Carti that this style was something that he could adopt, manipulate further, and continue progressing moving forward. Secondly, building on the point about Cancun penetrating meme culture, Kid Cudi did this and then some. We all know how viral the song went between people like Lamar using it, and as evidenced by the Google Trends. It shows that Kid Cudi was a track that really cemented this term as a phrase that was now commonplace even outside of Carti's hardcore fanbase. Secondly to touch on is Molly. And I'm gonna give a hot take real quick, but I think Molly stands today as the most fully realized version of this style and is the pinnacle of Carti's baby voice at this time. It's also bolstered by the euphoric production, but the way he manipulates his voice to change inflections, tones, and flows multiple times shows Carti fully grappling with this style and damn near perfecting it. And if we don't see a better song that grapples a baby voice like he does on this, I think when we look back on this era in a couple years, this will be looked at as one of the broke boys, as one of the flexes, and as one of the fetties of this time period in Carti's career. However, although I think Molly is the best song we've gotten from this era, by no means am I saying that this is the end of the baby voice or Carti's evolution of it, because on songs like Opium or What Type of Sh You On, Carti is again showing that he isn't shying away from continually straining this style and taking it as far as possible. However, we've all heard Carti recently say that Whole Lotta Red is going to showcase that he has quote-unquote bars, and like many of you were confused about what he meant by this. Like, I'm not sure how we can use a baby voice and still have bars at the same time, so that's definitely an interesting point to consider with a Whole Lotta Red coming up. But I digress. And I think if you play all the songs mentioned in this video back to back, all the way from the 2015 SoundCloud era Don't Tell Nobody to Opium, you will get a decent gauge for how Carti's voice has evolved and changed to become what it is today. But that's all from me today, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. If you guys made it this far, really appreciate you watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, helps me out a lot. Also make sure to follow your boy on Instagram at yadiiiigg, and there are more videos of mine on screen right now. Do make sure to check them out if you haven't.